We're live.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello to all those folks in Newport, Astoria, Brookings, Tillamook, and all points in between on the Oregon coast. We're so glad that you are here. Welcome to this celebration of the Oregon Coast Online Art Show, as well as the new series called the Oregon Coast Art Talks. These are two related events, but they're presented in tandem, and so we're going to be talking about and celebrating both the online show and the art talks this afternoon. My name is Tom Webb, and I'm the director for the Newport Visual Arts Center for the Oregon Coast Council for the Arts, and I am coming to you live streamed from the Runyon Gallery at the Newport Visual Arts Center. So here's how we are set up. We have 6 or 7 of us on a Zoom meeting, and the rest of you are watching live via YouTube live streaming. You are, as audience members, you are able to comment and ask questions via the chat function on your YouTube live station, and we very much encourage that chat feedback. So I'm going to get right into introducing some of the folks who are on our panel. Our first guest is Sandra Roumagoux. She's an artist from Newport. Sandy, welcome and thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks, Tom. And to all of you, welcome to this brand new way of communicating the visual arts. I guess I am a painter in Newport and have been here, I can't believe it, over 30 years. I also am a member of the Oregon Coast Council for the Arts Board, and I was appointed to the board as a liaison to with the VAC, the Visual Arts Center. And that has been a really challenging and enjoying thing to do. One always wonders about boards, but believe me, this is a great board to be on. And that's about it, unless I'm excited to listen to others and to see what unfolds for the next hour or so. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. And you're being a little bit modest because you failed to let people know that you were a 3-term mayor here in Newport and have been lending support to the arts in the community for a very extended time, and it's very much respected and appreciated. Our next panelist is Jill Marks. She's also an artist from Newport, and Jill has sold 2 pieces in the online art show. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to show my art in this way. I live both in Newport, but I work full-time in Eugene as well. So I'm back and forth between the two. And when I'm back on the coast, I love to be creating Kyotaku prints, which is my newfound love. So I love sharing them online. And when you set up this way of showing art, I thought, what a great way to support the arts and for people to see them across the country. I've actually had people from Maine and Massachusetts check out this online art show.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. How long have you been doing the fish printing, Jill?
Not long. I started after seeing an exhibit with Heather Fortner's work in 2015, and I probably started in 2016. So I'm a newer artist, and I'm really enjoying it.
Good. Well, I don't know, but everyone who I know who starts in on fish printing, they get hooked, so to speak, pretty fast.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Jill. We'll come back to you. Our next panelist is Karen Murphy, and Karen is with the Rick Bartow estate, who was really able to bring a special touch to the online art show and will be involved with future events too. So hello, Karen.
Hey, Tom, good to see you this afternoon. And thank you to all of you out there who are letting us into your homes or into your phones, however it is you're connecting with us. Good to see you this afternoon. I am probably the only not artist of the group, but I have the profound honors of serving as a trustee for Bartow's work. And we were invited and gladly accepted the invitation to put one of his pieces in the show. We chose this particular one that's behind me. It is, what is it, Tom? Is it a monograph? It's a,
lithograph.
it's a lithograph, okay, and of Coyote. And it's really fun to share this. Coyote was one of his favorite animals to depict. So good to see you this afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity. And we're really excited about the show. What a great thing to do this summer.
Thank you, Karen. And also to note is that Karen and the rest, some of the other members of the Bartow Trust estate will be leading a panel discussion on the current credibility, relevance of Rick Bartow's career, what the estate is doing to continue to promote it posthumously and all that. So that will be in October. Our next panelist is Randy McCoy. And Randy sent in a very unique contribution to the online art show. And Randy, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you submitted and what you're up to right now?
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, my name is Randy McCoy, and I split my time between Yachats and Philomath. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've been writing, performing music on the Oregon coast and in the Willamette Valley for nearly 40 years. And I also occasionally produce music videos to my songs when there's, you know, a social issue that I want to express myself on. So the project, I'm delighted to have my project in the Oregon Coast online show. And it's a song that I wrote that kind of talks about the current situation that we're all in, the world is all in right now with the pandemic and all the socially emotional kind of things that go along with that. And so I produced a music video to that song, and it made it into the show. And I'm really happy that and grateful to participate in this and to be with all of you right now.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. And I really was excited when you sent in your music video for the thought of having music as part of the online show, but also the video, which of course is visual art. And we'll be listening to that video and seeing it in a few minutes here. So we'll be coming back to you.
Great.
Our next artist is from Brookings, representing the southern part of the coast. We had a number of artists from Brookings. As a side note, that's why I was super excited about having so many artists up and down the coast. So Dan Gray is a wood sculptor out of Brookings. So welcome, Dan.
Well, thank you. It's really good to be here. Appreciate the invite. I've been doing wood turning since about '05. Never really thought I had any artistic talent because I couldn't paint. And then I got a wood lathe and found out maybe I did. So what I do is segmented wood turning, and then I take it a little bit of a step further and I disassemble the pieces and reassemble them into different shapes and different items.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, the piece that is in the online show is right over your shoulder there. Is that correct? Yeah, so people can get a sense of scale and intricacy of your work. So thanks, Dan. Our next panelist is Sara Siggelkow, who is an artist in Gleneden Beach. But she is also the Oregon Coast Council for the Arts Learning Coordinator. So she's going to talk about some of the educational programs that we have in the works a little bit later in the program. So welcome, Sara.
Thank you. I hope everybody's enjoying the lovely weather, at least we had on this section of the coast today. It doesn't typically get this warm. I am primarily a fiber artist. I work with reclaimed paper that I dye and paint and then reassemble it into something yet new again. And I've been doing that for probably the last 5 years. And before that, I was a weaver. So I've kind of had the fiber has been my biggest focus, I guess. So.
And you've, how long have you been in Gleneden Beach?
In Gleneden, I'm going on 3 years and 5 years in Oregon.
And before that, it was Wisconsin?
Yes. And before that, Colorado, and So quite have jumped all over.
Right. Sarah mentioned the beautiful weather on the Oregon coast today, and it clearly is a warm. I heard it was 85 in Lincoln City, and I'm looking out at the beach right now at the Running Gallery, and there are just throngs, literally throngs of tourists walking down to the beach. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's happening. Finally, I wanted to introduce Justin Gleeson, who is our technology specialist for the OCCA and is helping us facilitate all of these events and the ones that will be coming up as well. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Tom. Glad that we're able to do this, and thanks for joining.
Yep. Okay, so a few updates about the Oregon Coast Online Art Show, which I think most people realize was started in response to the pandemic, with all the galleries and art spaces closing, not to mention all the other spaces closing and people sheltering. We decided in, I think, March to try to organize a online show. And this is Oregon Coast Council for Arts has never done an online show. We did post our 2 current exhibits online as well with Greg Farr and Joan Schreckenbrod. You can see those on the website. So we put the call out. The idea was 1 artwork per artist. And the requirements were that you either lived on the Oregon coast, you'd shown your work at the Newport Visual Arts Center, or you were a member of the OCCA. And a number of people did join the OCCA just so that they could have their work in the show, which was great. And so we had lots of groups, I'll recognize them later, help us get the word out about the call for submissions. But we ended up getting originally over 140 submissions that we submitted, and Tim processed and gave to Justin for him to put up onto the website. And then right now we have over 160 artists who are showing work. We are still accepting new work, again, with those requirements, but also 1 work per artist. We're not actively marketing that fact, but if you know artists or you yourself would like to submit, you can get in touch with me and the back, and we'll let you know how we're doing that. I was super excited that we had the entire Oregon coast represented, from Brookings to Astoria, Gleneden, Tillamook. I mean, just every little hamlet was represented by an artist. And then we had a lot of artists from the Valley because they had shown their work at the VAC before, or even other parts of the state. Like when the Watercolor Society of Oregon had a show at the VAC, all of those artists, like 50 plus artists who had work here, were able to submit their work. And so it was about 100, well, actually it was very ironic because when we went live on May 27th, I counted the number of Oregon artists versus artists from the Valley and what else. And it turned out we had 101 artists who were living on the coast. And I thought that was so ironic. 101 being, Highway 101. We have sold over 6,000 in art sales since then, with about 12 pieces selling. Jill is leading the way with 2 pieces sold. I also did want to recognize some of those partners who helped us get the word out. There was the Watercolor Society of Oregon. There was the Eric Sandgren Paint Out Project. There was the Nestucca Valley Artisans. There was the Pelican Bay Artisans Association. There was the Coastal Art Guild. There was the Tillamook Art Alliance. And there was the Blackfish Gallery in Portland. And then we used all of our, OCCA used all of its internal lists to get the word out as well. And so we've been communicating with all those 160 artists, and the feedback has been incredibly positive. They're so excited to have their work out in the world. And a chance to sell their work, but there's also a sense of kind of camaraderie and community with all of them being as part of the same show. I think it's probably one of the biggest online shows in the area right now. And since we're having so much success and there really was no reason, there are no real expenses for us to take the show down. It was originally going to come down on Labor Day. We've decided to extend it indefinitely and see how that goes, at least until our facilities here at the back are able to open to the public. We will keep the online show up, and then we'll be doing these art talks that we're going to talk about in a little bit here to continue to market and bring attention to the online show, as well as to enjoy the artist talks themselves. So with that said, I think we're going to play Randy McCoy's video. Is that right, Justin?
Yep, I'll get that started just in the next second.
Spindrift on a misty mile for a gray sky frames the desolate shore. I walk beside one set of footprints in the sand, so that later someone could think with envy we were walking hand in hand. 'Cause nobody knows, no one knows how long. Yes, I know what you feel. We're all in some kind of crazy dream and it's time to wake up. Yes, I feel what you know. Staying alone, staying at home, living alone now. We try to touch each other from a distance with a brighter smile, the bigger wave, hey, how's it going? 'Cause the farther we are pulled apart, the more connected that we feel. It's our time alone that'll bring us together. Our time alone together around the world. We will be better from our time alone, bringing us together. Try to take it in. Across this mighty ocean are others walking in the very shoes we're in. What if we all could close our eyes and change the world? Think about one people, one love, one light, one word. Yes, I know what you feel. Gonna learn from the crazy dream by the time we wake up. Yes, I feel what you know. Staying alone, staying at home, living alone now. People singing warmly from their windows, finding a way to make a better day for anybody listening. 'Cause the longer we are pulled apart, the more connected that we feel. It's our time alone that'll bring us together. Our time alone that'll bring us together around the world. We will be better from our time alone, bringing us together. side. We're gonna dance and sing. Hey, la, 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 la. Hey, sha, la, 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 la. Hey, mama, 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 mama. Hey, coo, 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 yeah. Hey, ba, 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 yeah. Hey, ba, la, 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 la.
We're back.
All right, wonderful. It looks like everybody was able to see Randy's video through the live stream. Randy, do you want to just say a couple words about how you made the video and what resources you used and things like that?
Yeah, sure. You know, I have a little recording studio set up here, so I recorded everything here in my studio at home, and then I just gathered a series of photos and clips to create the slideshow, and then I have a video editing program from Corel called Video Studio Pro, but yeah, we're all realizing through this pandemic that how important social connection and bonding and love and all that stuff is, how important that is to us. When that gets taken away, it's hard to wrap your head around. And I'd walk on the beach and see next to no one, certainly not today, right? By what Tom said, but you maybe you've experienced this. You'll walk by somebody and you want to keep your distance, but at the same time, there's this need to want to say hello and connect with somebody. And from all the isolation and quarantine we've been having to do. So I kind of thought from this unprecedented time of isolation with our newfound perspective, maybe as a result, we can come out the other side with an unprecedented awareness of and openness for love and connection worldwide, since the whole world is experiencing this at the same time. So that maybe our time alone could bring us together. So as a songwriter, I certainly felt that was a song-worthy notion to write about. And so wrote the song and then put the video behind it. And there you go.
Tom, you're muted.
Oh, thanks, Randy. I was just saying, it looks like you found some really impressive video footage to go along with the work. Justin, it sounds like we have a question coming in from the audience.
Right. Got a quick question here for Jill. This is coming in from Ruth. She wants to know, how long does it take you to prepare the fish for printing?
That's actually one of the longest processes of fish printing. Most of my specimens are frozen, so I have to defrost it for a day or two first, depending on how thick the fish is. And then there's a very long process of completely drying the fish. So that takes on some interesting time and patience, because you have to make sure there's no areas of dampness or wetness when you're going to ink the fish. So that can be usually a 2 to 3 day process of just preparing the fish to get ready for the ink to go on the fish. So hopefully that helps to answer that question.
Well, then of course you have to make sure the fish doesn't spoil.
Yeah, I've had really good luck. If I defrost them and dry them and print them in that day, if you take good care of your specimens, you can actually have them last for years and years. So it's not like you're just printing once and throwing the animal away. So all of my specimens I've used multiple times.
Oh.
So
You don't actually enjoy the fish after you're done with them.
no, although there is a way of doing that. I've never done live fish printing. I can only imagine how difficult that is.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarification. I would hope sustainable fish printing. Yeah, I would encourage that. So now's the time of our meeting where we're just going to open it up a little bit for our panelists and make a quick toast to the online show. And I just wanted to share a couple of things from my part, just sort of minor anecdotal things. But we had a woman call us from Portland and said she was really interested in Darren Orange's painting. Darren paints out of Astoria. And I asked her how she came across his work. And she said, well, I did a Google search for Oregon Coast artists. And she said there was no such list of Oregon Coast artists. And then, but she said, I came across your online show and it felt like the equivalent of a listing, you know, a pretty extensive listing of artists on the coast. And so I thought, looking at it that way, I thought it was very powerful in that we're, you know, kind of promoting this whole group of artists who are on the coast. And obviously there are many, many artists that aren't in the show that live on the coast, but it was serving that kind of purpose. And then my second thing I wanted to share was that I've got a lot out of the online show in a lot of different ways, and I think it's been very successful. But for me, I've gotten to know so many artists on the coast who I didn't even know about. And I thought that I knew a lot of artists on the coast, and in my role, I have met many, but half of the artists I had never known. And now we have this connection. And like Dan Gray is a perfect example of someone who's doing award-winning work out of Brookings, and I am now familiar with his work, and maybe Dan will have a show here sometime down the road. You know, those kind of connections, I think, are invaluable, especially as Randy talks about. We're in this time of isolation, but we can be connected in different ways. So my toast is to all the artists in the online show. Hear, hear. Anyone else?
I'd like to go if I could, Tom.
Yeah.
I want to start by reminding the artists who are participating today and who participating in the show about how important their work is at this very chaotic, frightening time. And art speaks to our soul, art speaks to our hearts. Art allows us to connect with something outside of ourselves, at the same time connecting with our own selves by getting to know something new about who we are through the art. It is so important, and I'm so thrilled, Tom, that I'm going to give you full credit for conceiving of this show. Well, whoever it was and whoever came together, here, and wonderful to be able to connect what's happening with us here on the coast and the wonderful pieces that are being put forth in the beauty of them alone. But for everything else, I want to say thank you, you wonderful artists, for making my world and the whole world a better place. Cheers.
All right.
Tom, I've got a quick question here for Dan.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This question comes in from Mark. He wants to know, he says, is there a story or inspiration of the dive helmet behind you?
You know, I spent a lot of time on the internet. I guess I have to backtrack a little bit here. When I first started, I just made bowls out of solid wood. And that was fun, and it was certainly encouraging. In fact, the first time I turned something, I was just, it's kind of one of those aha moments where you realize, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. But then I kind of got bored with it. So I got into segmented wood turning, which I discovered online. And then I kind of got bored with that. So then I started looking at things online, and I'm a diver myself, but modern diving equipment really isn't all that artistic. So then I started looking at helmets and things like that, and thought I can do that. So I did turn one, and it blew up on the lathe on me, and I got angry and threw it in the trash. And then I pulled it back out and put it back together, and actually sold it a few years later. So sometimes I just sit around thinking about what do I want to turn. And if I get an idea, then I'll do something like antique diving helmets. I'll go online and do Google images and find all manner of inspiration.
And Dan, your works are incredibly intricate. Like, how many pieces go into each? They're almost like a three-dimensional jigsaw. How many pieces go into each helmet?
Well, that particular helmet probably has about 300 pieces in it. I've actually done items. I did a fake wood stove, which I called a one-time use only. and I had 1,000 pieces in that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was quite involved. But
Yeah.
but that's the fun, is just trying to figure out what you're doing, what you want to do, and how to put it together. That's half the battle. And I'd also like to further say that the idea of this online show, I think, is a great idea at any time, but specifically now during the pandemic, it's a great idea. And I think we need to look beyond the pandemic, because this is transient. And this is something I think that should be continued after, because we are in the 21st century, and this is the way people look at art. You know, I was lucky enough to be in Europe last year in Florence, and to see the art there, and to think that, you know, these people went through very rough times as well, but the art survived.
Yeah, it's very true. It's interesting to think about other ways that we can incorporate this online format moving down the road. It's incredibly effective for like community discussion and you know, community education and all that. And so we'll see what comes up. And we are looking for new ideas for panel discussions and all that. I just want to take a moment to pause and remind people that the online show and the art talks are being put together by the Oregon Coast Council for the Arts and the Newport Visual Arts Center. So a couple things, you can really think about how to spread the word about the art show. Think about supporting OCCA in the back, and I'll just end that commercial there. We are going to talk now quickly about the 12 artist talks that we have coming up between next August 23rd and the middle of November. And these were drawn from a call and response to the online artists. And so they are helping to lead these different talks. They will be one of three formats, sort of a more traditional artist talk, panel discussion, and studio tours. And the artist talks and panel discussions will be live streamed. That means you will be, people on YouTube Live will be, you know, listening and viewing on a live basis. The gallery studios will be pre-recorded, but they will everything will start starting next Sunday, the 23rd. Everything will start at noon on Sunday. So it's kind of like a brunch time activity, if you will. Weekends aren't what they were in the past. So as staff at the back in OCCA, We are committed to making that happen every Sunday at noon, except for Labor Day weekend. We will not have an event on Labor Day weekend. So next week, August 23rd, we have a studio tour with Sam Jacobson from Otis, Oregon. Sam is a sculptor. Following Sunday, the 30th, we'll have what we're calling State of the Arts, Tillamook. Local leaders will discuss their art community pre and post COVID-19. This discussion about the Tillamook County is led by Christine Harrison. September 13th, skipping Labor Day, a gallery tour by Joan Truckenbrod from Corvallis. Joan will have a new gallery show up in with limited hours in Corvallis, and she will do a video tour of her gallery show. Joan is a photo collage artist. September 20th, we will have a panel discussion called Focus on Creativity, where primarily Lincoln City artists are going to talk about their processes and approaches to creativity. The discussion will be led by Lincoln City artist Sydney Angelique Green. September 27th, a virtual art fair with Karen Gelbard, who's a textile artist out of Pacific City. She has been used to going to all these art fairs over the summer. They were all closed. So she created an art fair booth in her backyard and let people come by. So she is going to do a virtual art fair booth. October 4th, Hank Pander, a Portland painter, is going to do a tale of two paintings. He's going to discuss the stories. His work has a lot of narrative storytelling behind them. He's going to talk about his current work in the online show, plus his current painting of the turmoil outside the Portland Federal Courthouse building, which I think is fascinating given what's been going on. October 11th, we have the panel discussion of Rick Bartow in Context. So it will be led by Karen Murphy and other estate members. October 18th, studio tour, Maria Sund out of Otis. Maria is a collage artist. October 25th, State of the Arts Brookings. This will again be a discussion of the local Brookings community, led by artist Linda Evans. November 1, State of the Arts Astoria, a similar discussion, but on the Astoria community. November 8th, a studio tour by Matthew Palmgren, who is a painter out of Astoria. And then November 15th, a studio tour of Susan Farnham, who's a painter out of Yachats. And then that's the official schedule for now. You can also see it online at the OCCA website. If you just Google Oregon Coast Art Talks, you can see the whole schedule. We are open to new online event ideas. In fact, we've already got one artist who wants to do a studio tour, and we'll schedule that. And yeah, I don't think we'll do anything more than weekly, but maybe there are reasons to do special events. But we have the technology, and we're very lucky to have a staff and Justin who can help facilitate this. And it seems just a great way to keep people connected and involved.
So Tom,
Justin,
I just want to ask everyone if they would, if you want to make sure and get the see the new streams coming in, that if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notifications for that. Also see us on Facebook. We will be posting the links there. And then as Tom mentioned, on the website, you can see more information about the weekly art talk.
Right, and this is our first go at it with the online live streaming and with working with Zoom. So I'm sure we'll get even more creative. And I want to, Justin, we have any other questions or comments?
I've got a couple more here from both from Mark. One is for Jill, and he wants to know.
Jill's getting all the questions.
Yeah. He wants to know, what has the incorporation of wildlife printing meant for her as a person, and where do you hope this art form takes you 5 years from now?
Oh, wow. So my foray into this is so new. I'm having a lot of fun exploring using not just the species that I'm printing, but starting to do more background of kelp and seaweed or jelly printing. So my hope, I guess, for 5 years from now is to just keep exploring. I'm so new to this that there's a whole universe of ways of incorporating new things or new styles. Being on Instagram has just given me a plethora of ideas to explore with Gyotaku that I'm seeing from people from around the world. So I would love to just continue to develop as an artist and get my work out there and hopefully have people enjoy it. My main thing is to have people connect to nature in a way that they don't usually get to. You know, if I print a bat and you can see the tiny little fur coming off of its feet, that's not something that most people in the world get to see. So just getting people more appreciative of nature, I think, is my biggest goal.
Excellent. Was there another question for Jill? Or
Just a quick one for you, Tom. Mark wants to know whatever became of the Bear Deluxe. You know,
what does Mike give his last name?
it's Mark Marks.
Oh, Marky Marks. Mark is referencing a project magazine that I helped start and worked on for a long time out of Portland called the Bear Deluxe, which was in some ways still is an environmental arts magazine. And we had a lot of copies actually distributed in Newport and up and down the coast through people like Mark's friend, Andrew Rodman. But basically when I moved out to Newport, the magazine kind of went on a hiatus, and the people in Portland are trying to bring it back. So we hope to have a new issue this summer. It's so it's, and we, you know, we're thinking about other things. It's, you know, it's super hard for me to be all that involved in other projects, but I am kind of involved in advisory capacity. But thanks for the question. I'm bringing up the Bear Deluxe, my favorite magazine. All right, so I wanted to save a few minutes for Sara Siggelkow to talk a little bit about the educational programming that we're trying to do here in the age of COVID, and utilizing technology and what we might be doing down the road, and you know, just trying to encourage people to stay connected with the back, because we are in the world of arts education, because we are trying to continue to pursue that. So Sara, do you want to say a few things?
Yes, it's been very interesting to try and plan this year, as I'm sure it is for most of you. In addition to planning is how we would look at it, what you can do with youth especially has a lot more rules and regulations in, and every time I think I have them all committed, they seem to change them again. So what we are doing currently is a set of 6, and we're calling them Art to Go. They're a full-fledged kit, so other than maybe a pair of scissors and water and stuff from home, you can get a kit and make at least 2 to 3 projects out of each, plus experiment. The first 2 will be coming out this week. One is weaving on a small loom. One is making bowls out of paper. And then they'll continue through the 10th and 11th of September. And you can see that on our website and on the Facebook page, what the dates are that they are and when they're available to pick up. So that's a really exciting thing. And the kits are aimed for 6 to 106. So there's 2 different youth age groups, and then there's an adult one too. So it's not just for small people. Anybody can take part. So if you want to learn something new, this is a good chance to try your hand at that. I'm also looking for people who want to teach virtually going through to this fall, whether it be teaching to youth or to adults. Tom set up this great group of activities that are going to allow us to practice and see what we're capable of doing. So it'll be nice to see. So if anybody is an instructor or wants to instruct and is willing to take it to a virtual level, I'd love to hear from you.
And you also created instructional videos to go along with the Art2Go package. Am I right there?
Yeah, so each packet will have written instructions with some photos, and then there'll be a short video that'll show you all of the steps and those weird things that you can't quite really take a still picture of or explain it. So kind of walk you through how to do it, and then show you a few end results that you could do with experimenting along the way.
Right, and just before the COVID hit, we were about to announce a series of, I don't know, I think it was 4 or 5 new adult in-person workshops that, of course, had to be changed. And so the focus on adult learning at the back and through OCCA is something that was an initiative that really started in more earnest last fall. And it's a challenge bringing on a new program. So if you have any ideas, I know Sandy was considering doing a workshop, and maybe once we open again, that would be a possibility. But we've got a lot more experience with youth art learning. So we're continuing to do outreach for adult learning, which is important, very important as well. Just as sort of a wrap up, I'll let if anybody else has any final words, I'll kind of wrap up by saying, of course, keep spreading the word, celebrate what we've done. We don't know what's going to happen in the coming weeks. There's the possibility Lincoln County has petitioned to open up to phase 2 as early as August 28th, or maybe that's 24. But anyways, in the coming weeks, I have no clue. It's really hard to know what Clatsop County to our north, Tillamook County to our north are both in phase 2. We're in phase 1. If things go to phase 2 for Lincoln County and the city passes, various resolutions, we may be looking at the building opening up in a limited way. It's the last couple 7 to 10 days haven't been great for Lincoln County, so I'm skeptical that that's going to happen, but it probably will happen in the not too distant future. And so that's going to change our world, and it's going to change also opportunities for how we can do adult learning and youth learning here in the building, and how we can do more traditional gallery exhibits. But I think it's been a great learning experience doing the online work, and I think we'll continue to do that. And so thanks you all for making it happen and being involved, and we'll see you online. Does anybody have any final remarks?
We've got one more question here from Ruth. This is Ruth Van Dorn. She's got another quick question for Jill. She wants to know how your work has influenced your environmental work.
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting question. Both my Gyotaku and I tend to do a lot of volunteer work on our beaches. So it's made me really appreciate how critical the environment. I always knew the environment is critical, but even more so now. I tend to do marine debris surveys, beach bird surveys, NOAA marine debris surveys. And that all happened pretty much at the same time that I was starting on this Gyotaku process. So it's a nice mix between the two. Being out there on the beach and seeing what's happening, and then coming back and trying to print and hopeful that people will see the prints and want to care for our environment more. I don't know if that quite answers it, but they both happened at the same time. So, yeah.
And thanks, Jill. Justin, I got a text message here from somebody asking, where did the chat line go?
It's in YouTube. So if
Yes,
you're watching it within Facebook, I haven't been watching that chat. I mean, let me check Facebook.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, we can probably get back to her.
It is in the live chat is in YouTube if you're watching it within.
Yeah, she might be watching on Facebook, but yeah, definitely, we know that the chat is working, so.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks again. I enjoyed getting together, and we'll see you next Sunday. Well, you might not see me, but you'll see the next gallery studio tour or artist studio tour, noon, Sunday. See you online.
Share it with your friends. Look forward to
Thanks,
seeing you.
Justin, for all your help.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom, for setting
Thanks,
this
everybody.
up.
All right.
Very much.
See ya.